Chapter 31. She saw Ziling holding her lame leg with one hand as she limped in. She looked flustered and her steps were messy, as if she was about to fall to the ground with every step. Yiqing Luo's expression was slightly surprised to see Ziling. Since the day she gave Ziling that task, Ziling had not appeared again. She thought that Ziling was afraid of staining her hands with blood and had fled the Three Springs sect. Miss? Ziling's face was pale and her body was trembling. She rushed to the front of Yiqing Luo and was just about to say something when she saw Yi Fengyu by the side and stopped. Eighth young master. Yiqing Luo glanced at him and waved her hand. It's okay if you have anything to say, just say it. Ziling looked at Yi Fengyu, twisting her fingers as if she was hesitating. But in the end she couldn't bear the pressure in her heart and her eyes were filled with tears. Her legs suddenly went soft and she knelt in front of Yiqing Luo. Miss, I killed someone. I killed Aunt Zhang. Ziling was only 13 or 14 years old and it was her first time killing someone. She couldn't help but feel helpless. Yiqing Luo was even more surprised. She narrowed her long and narrow eyes and stared at Ziling with a deeper meaning in her eyes. It seemed that Ziling was really loyal to her. In order to stay by her side, she suppressed her fear and killed someone. She lacked people around her that she could trust. If she cultivated Ziling well, she would definitely be a powerful helper in the future. Very good. Yiqing Luo curved her lips and slowly bent down to Ziling and reached out to her. Ziling, you did very well. Congratulations on passing my test. Her fair, jade-like hands were almost transparent under the sunlight. It dazzled in Ziling's eyes and she couldn't stop the tears from rolling down her cheeks. Ziling, in this world if you want to survive, you must kill all those who will threaten your life. Before that, you must make yourself stronger. Yiqing Luo looked at Ziling who was kneeling on the ground. You want to stay by my side, Aunt Zhang is just the beginning. Ziling trembled and shivered. Miss? Did he mean that he would make her kill more people in the future? Think about it carefully. Yiqing Luo's hands hung in front of Ziling's eyes, curled her index finger and hooked it. Ziling stared blankly at Yiqing Luo, her eyes reddened and her tears stopped flowing. After a long while, Ziling trembled and placed her hand into Yiqing Luo's palm. Ling-er's life was saved by Miss and Ling-er has always remembered it. Ling-er belongs to you for the rest of her life. With Yiqing Luo's strength, Ziling stood up. Miss is right. If Aunt Zhang doesn't die, we will. I want to protect Mississippi. I want Miss to live. This was a strange world where the strong preyed on the weak. In the past they had endured it countless times, yet they had suffered humiliation and almost lost their lives. If they kept retreating, it would only make the other party more arrogant and take over everything they had. Yiqing Luo tightened her grip as her eyes shot out an arrogant radiance. You must remember, repaying evil with good is our principle, but seeking revenge for the smallest grievance is our way of life. Yiqing Luo would eventually stand at the peak of the strong. She would trample on those who had looked down on her and bullied her. Ziling and Yi Fengyu were shocked. At this time they had thoroughly and truly felt the changes in Yiqing Luo. Chapter 32. The next morning Yiqing Luo got up and called Yi Fengyu over to the medicine shop to purchase some medicinal herbs. The herbs in the profound phoenix ring were all of the best quality. She wanted to refine a low-grade elixir, so using these herbs was a waste of resources. After watching Yi Fengyu train these past few days, he still had no way of breaking through the level of his profound jade heart. She felt that it was better to first borrow the elixir to help Yi Fengyu break through to the next level, and then slowly stabilize his profound qi. Moreover, since Ziling was determined to follow her, she must cure Ziling's leg. She had robbed all the money from Yi Fengyu. Who would have thought that the lad had secretly hoarded nearly 20 gold coins without saying a word? 20 gold coins was equivalent to 200 silver coins. It was enough for her to buy enough medicinal herbs. Yi Fengyu's heart ached as he put on a bitter face and brought Yiqing Luo to the biggest medicine shop in Three Springs City, Pristine Elixir Medicine Shop. The moment Yiqing Luo entered, a shopkeeper greeted her. Isn't this young matriarch an eighth young master? Come, please come in. Yiqing Luo was stunned by the shopkeeper's enthusiasm. One must know that wherever she went in the past, people would chase her away. Who would care about her identity as the young sect master? Half a month ago you beat up eldest sister and fourth sister at the entrance of the Three Springs sect, and even annulled the crown prince's marriage in public. Who would dare to treat you as a waste now? Yi Fengyu whispered into Yiqing Luo's ear. No wonder so many people were pointing at her and gossiping along the way. Under the enthusiastic guidance of the shopkeeper, Yiqing Luo and Yi Fengyu walked into the medicine shop. There were many people in the medicine shop, and there were many people wearing alchemist clothes coming and going. Looking at the medals on their chests, one could tell the rank of each alchemist. Most of the people who received and introduced the medicinal herbs were at the level of an apprentice. Yiqing Luo was just about to list out the list of medicinal herbs when she saw a group of people swaggering in. There were 6 of them. A person stood in front of him, exuding a ruffian aura. The 5 of them followed behind aggressively. "Get out of the way, get out of the way. Shopkeeper, where's our young master's medicine?" A fierce-looking attendant stepped forward and slammed his palm on the counter. The surrounding commoners were so shocked that they all fled from the medicine shop. Yo-ho! Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. He was an acquaintance. Yiqing Luo's brows rose as she swept a glance at that man who was filled with a ruffian aura. Noticing her gaze, he looked over. Instantly, his expression changed greatly and his eyes became ruthless. "Elder sister, it's the Yuchi family's 4th young master. Why is he looking at you with such a strange expression?" Yi Fengyu also noticed it as he took a step forward and blocked Yiqing Luo's way. It was just a casual action, but it showed how much he cared about Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo's eyes were filled with smiles, revealing some warmth. "It's all right, just watch. This Yuchi 4th young master has a reputation of being a playboy and his character is corrupt. It's best if we don't get involved with him," Wuxia said as he pulled Yiqing Luo's hand, wanting to leave. Yiqing Luo burst into laughter. Right now, she was afraid that it wasn't up to her whether she was willing or not to be involved with Wuxia. But Wuxia wouldn't easily let go of this opportunity. Sure enough, a servant came over and shouted fiercely, "7th miss of the night, my young master invites you." Yi Fengyu immediately shoved Yiqing Luo behind him, his eyes suddenly filled with a gloomy chill. "Get lost. Don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit." That servant's face was flushed red as he raised his fist and ruthlessly struck towards Yi Fengyu. Chapter 33. Yi Fengyu's face darkened. He suddenly lifted his leg and kicked that follower's abdomen. The follower cried out in pain and rolled out while clutching his stomach. "Wuxia, for the sake of being a classmate, take your men and get out of here, otherwise. Today we are not finished." Yuchi family was one of the 4 great families. Wuxia's position was not to be underestimated. Although Three Springs sect's power was getting weaker in recent years, it was still the #1 sect in the Western continent. If he really wanted to meet force with force, Yi Fengyu had nothing to fear. Wuxia watched his follower being kicked away, his eyes filled with ruthlessness. "Not finished? This young master wants to see how you will not finish with this young master." Young master Yuchi, haven't you enjoyed the taste of that day? Are you addicted?" Yiqing Luo pushed aside Yi Fengyu who was standing in front of her and leisurely walked forward. Mentioning that day, Wuxia's face in a split second became overcast. "Yiqing Luo, you are courting death." Yiqing Luo sneered, "If I am courting death, then you are courting?" That day at Heavenly Fortune Inn, she had fed the 4 men and locked them in a room. Presumably, that day would be unforgettable for Wuxia. Sure enough, mentioning this word, Wuxia's face flushed red, blue veins bulging on his forehead. "You guys go. Bring Yiqing Luo here." He waved his arm and called for the followers behind him to surround Yiqing Luo. Last time he let Yiqing Luo go was only because the Overlord was present. He thought this little waste had entered the Overlord's eyes. But now it seemed that the Overlord should only be interested in Yiqing Luo for a while. Several followers heard the order, immediately pulled out a broadsword from their waist and pounced towards Yiqing Luo. The common people and the medicine shop's pharmacists screamed and avoided. "Little you." Yiqing Luo sneered and shouted for Yi Fengyu. At the same time she took a step back. "Come at me." Yi Fengyu leaped forward and stood in front of the entourage. Surrounded by 4 strong and fierce-looking men, Yi Fengyu appeared even more petite and exquisite. But Yi Fengyu made a move, not showing any weakness. He reached out and grabbed the chair beside him. Then he ordered the attendant in front of him to sit down. Then, with a nimble sway of his body, his qi broke out of his body. The 4 followers also released their xianxia. The follower who had been sent flying by Yi Fengyu earlier also joined the battle. Yi Fengyu fought 1 against 5, and the sounds of battle rang out. Yiqing Luo leaned against the medicine cabinet and narrowed her eyes, sizing up the battle situation in front of her. Yi Fengyu's next move, she had a rough grasp of it. Her little brother's profound heart jade wasn't too bad, and the cultivation conditions Yi Tianquang gave him weren't bad either. The only thing he lacked was his comprehension ability. Every move and every style was too standard and standard. Although each and every one of his moves looked ruthless, He was too kind and controlled his strength too much. What about the 5 attendants? Perhaps it was because Wuxia had suffered a loss at the heavenly fortune in last time. The profound ranks of these 5 followers were all too low. The weakest was Yellow Shen 6th grade and the strongest was Xianxia. The Yuchi family really felt rather sorry for this 4th young master. In this kind of battle situation, Yi Fengyu was completely at a disadvantage. That Xianxia level follower also saw Yi Fengyu's weakness, and while the other 4 were entangling with Yi Fengyu, he circled behind him. Yi Fengyu was still fighting with the other 4 and didn't pay attention to his back. But the example of the follower using blood told her that if she was punched by Yi Qingluo, she would not be able to stand up. After dodging, Wuxia seized the opportunity and formed a seal with both hands, releasing profound energy from the center of his palm. In a split second, the entire medicine shop was shaking. A sharp long sword materialized in Wuxia's hand. Intermingled with fragmented streaks of lightning, a dense chill came from his sword's edge. He raised his long sword high, and with a slash, he released his killing intent and directly chopped down. This sword wave, compared to the sword wave created by Yi Qingling, did not know how many times more advanced it was. The momentum was ferocious and it was mixed with lightning. Yi Qingluo's lips curled up slightly as she welcomed that sword wave without any fear. He took out the folding fan from his sleeve and twirled it around his fingertips. Chapter 35. Just as Yi Qingluo was about to dodge, she felt that powerful chi wave actually bypassed her and smashed next to Wuxia's feet with a loud bang. It just so happened to block the sword wave that Wuxia set off. Who is it? Wuxia's attack didn't land and he roared in uncontrollable rage. Yi Qingluo also looked in the direction of the profound chi attack. She saw a man dressed in white, waving a folding fan as he entered pristine elixir medicine hall, neither too fast nor too slow. His white clothes fluttered, elegant and noble, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. That was an extremely conceited smile. If this smile was on someone else, perhaps it would be a joke. But on him it felt so smooth and natural. Yi Qingluo narrowed her charming eyes as she pondered whether the other was a friend or foe. Wuxia already spoke first. Isn't this second young master Mu? I haven't seen you for a few days and you even dare to meddle in this young master's business? Second young master Mu? Yi Qingluo searched for this name in her memory. She actually had a bit of an impression. Second young master Mu Zifei was the second young master of the Mu family, a profound practitioner aristocratic family. The Mu family had an extremely strange custom. For generations they would only marry one person as a wife. Because of this, the Mu family also only had 2 sons. After all, second young master Mu came from a profound practitioner aristocratic family and was also a rare profound chi genius. Mu Zifei unfolded his folding fan and lightly waved it. Fourth young master Yuchi, you're causing trouble in my pristine elixir medicine hall. How can this be considered as other people's business? If I don't stop you and something really happens, our faces won't be good. This young master's target today is only that little slut. Give her to me and this young master will immediately leave with my people. Wuxia put away his long sword. Once you enter our pristine elixir medicine hall, you're our customer. If I hand over pristine elixir medicine hall's customer to you today, how will the common people view pristine elixir medicine hall? Mu Zifei raised his fan and waved it. Wuxia's face suddenly sunk. So you're saying that you want to oppose this young master for that trash? I don't dare oppose you. What I'm doing is only to protect the safety of the medicine hall's customers. If fourth young master Yuchi insists on causing trouble in my pristine elixir medicine hall, then I can only offend you. Finished speaking, Mu Zifei no longer paid attention to Wuxia. Walking straight towards Yi Qingluo, that handsome face revealed a sincere smile. Seventh miss, I'm really sorry to have startled you. Yi Qingluo nodded indifferently. In his heart he had some appreciation towards Mu Zifei. I'm pristine elixir medicine hall's second young master, Mu Zifei. Chapter 36. Sister, you can't be. Yi Fengyu's expression congealed as he looked at the center of the medicine shop with slight worry. He saw Wuxia slap the ground with his palm and leap up. His long sword turned and met Mu Zifei head on. Mu Zifei was unruffled as he withdrew his folding fan into his sleeve. Replacing it was a blood-red longsword. The sword and sword collided and profound chi violently surged out. The sword light was resplendent and the sword chi was awe-inspiring. It carried an extremely strong and majestic chi wave as it exploded with a loud bang. Was this a battle between the strong? Yi Fengyu's heart thumped. Do you feel that you are clearly on par with their profound grades? Yet you are unable to display their imposing manner? Yi Qingluo saw through Yi Fengyu's thoughts in one glance. Yi Fengyu stared ahead in a daze. A certain place in his heart was gradually changing. You will also have this kind of imposing manner. Yi Qingluo hooked up a smile and stuffed the medicine list into his palm. Think carefully when you confronted those 3 attendants at the end, what was in your heart. Only you can understand the disparity between you and them. Yi Fengyu's eyes flashed as he vaguely grasped something. Yi Qingluo pushed Yi Fengyu towards the back room. Don't worry, sister, go ahead. Yi Fengyu picked up the medicine list as he was being pushed and glanced at it. He coughed fiercely. Avoiding the shopkeeper who was leading the way, he lowered his voice and leaned close to Yi Qingluo's ear. Sister, aren't you looting a burning house? That medicine list was filled with a bunch of names of medicinal herbs. Added together, it was at least 10 gold coins. 10 gold coins, 10. Yi Qingluo disapprovingly raised her eyebrows. She was very calm. Is the Mu family lacking in gold coins? Since second young master Mu proposed that all the medicinal herbs I bought today are free of charge, I'll take 1 copper coin's worth of medicinal herbs and 10 gold coins as well. What's wrong with that? Yi Fengyu was speechless. In the end, he followed the shopkeeper into the back room with a red face under Yi Qingluo's coercion. When Yi Qingluo returned to the medicine shop's main hall, she discovered that Wuxia had already fought his way outside the medicine shop under Mu Zifei's lead. Yi Qingluo raised her eyebrows. She was somewhat interested in this second young master Mu. They would start fighting at the slightest disagreement, and they would never resort to words to settle things that could be settled with their fists. She admired such a decisive man. Mu Zifei, what's your relationship with that trash? Unexpectedly for her, you don't hesitate to oppose this young master? Wuxia was in an extremely sorry state. In terms of profound rank, he was above Mu Zifei. But in terms of control over profound energy and saber arts, Mu Zifei clearly had the upper hand. The hand gripping the sword was already numb from Mu Zifei's relentless advance and the collision of the sword and saber. It was somewhat unsteady on the sword. I don't know Miss Seven, and I'm not doing this for her. The corner of Mu Zifei's mouth was still that smile that made people unable to be conceited. Anyone who causes trouble in pristine elixir medicine hall is an enemy of my Mu family. Since fourth young master Yuchi doesn't want to save face for both sides, then I don't need to show mercy. So it turns out that fourth young master Yuchi's strength is so weak. Second young master Mu hasn't even used his full strength and is already unable to meet the challenge? A sweet and melodious voice leisurely came over. The tone was full of ridicule. Inside the medicine shop, a woman dressed in red like fire walked out. Dark blood-red patterns outlined the outline of an enchanting flower at the hem of her skirt. Her fine black hair scattered over her shoulders. Her slender and thin eyebrows curved. Her bewitching and seductive eyes revealed a somewhat cold flowing light. Chapter 37. Yi Qingluo. Once he saw Yi Qingluo walking over, Wuxia's eyes turned scarlet red, filled with hatred. His fingers, which were gripping the long sword tightly, tightened one by one. Seventh young lady, just leave him to me. Mu Zifei smiled as he looked towards Yi Qingluo. After all, fourth young master Yuchi messed up the medicine hall because of me. If I were to stand by the side and watch, it wouldn't be justifiable. Yi Qingluo's lips curled up slightly as she smiled lightly. His demeanor was calm, without the slightest bit of timidity or fear. That pair of enchanting eyes that could bewitch all living things had a radiance that was so dazzling. This isn't an aura that a trash can emit. A brilliant glint flitted across the depths of Mu Zifei's eyes as he recalled the news that had been circulating throughout Three Springs City during this period of time. It seemed that this seventh young lady of the Yi family had really changed. He had a very strong idea. The Three Springs sect would most likely undergo an earth-shaking change. Suddenly, a slender white hand rested on Mu Zifei's shoulder. He was startled when he heard the woman's low voice. That orchid-like fragrance seeped into his nose. Mu Zifei was dazed for a split second. Yuchi family's helpers are here. Yi Qingluo's eyes sunk slightly. Pristine elixir medicine hall doesn't have any hired thugs? As soon as she walked out of the medicine shop, she keenly heard the commoners discussing. The Yuchi family had gathered 20 to 30 people and were rushing over here. He glanced at the attendant lying on the ground in the hall. Sure enough, one had run away. 20 to 30 people. There were probably many experts from the Yuchi family among them. She did not have any xianxia, and this body could not display even 1/10 of her skills in her previous life. joining hands with Mu Zifei to deal with 20 to 30 people. I'm afraid he was going to die here. Mu Zifei's complexion changed. Pristine elixir medicine hall is opened by the Mu clan. Even if there are disputes, they will still give the Mu clan this face. Therefore, pristine elixir medicine store didn't arrange any thugs at all. Miss Seven, I'll cover you. You should leave now. As long as we return to Three Springs sect, they won't dare to do anything to you. Mu Zifei pulled Yiqing Luo behind him. If I leave, what will you do? In any case, I'm the Mu family's second young master. If the Yuchi family dares to touch me, it's the same as declaring war on the Mu family. Mu Zifei gripped his long saber tightly, his gaze becoming sharp. Leave now. A burst of profound energy burst out from his body. This powerful wave of chi was even more powerful than when Wuxia had tangled with him. His long blade flicked upwards and profound energy surged madly in the surroundings. A 4-foot-long blade radiance was already directly pressed down towards Wuxia. This saber turned into an astonishing beam of light that pierced through the sky. Yiqing Luo retreated a few steps under that strong airwave. Half squinting her charming eyes, she deeply stared at the man who used his full strength to attack Wuxia. A smile quietly leapt onto the corner of her mouth. He was serious. He really wanted to use himself in exchange for her safety. When had she ever been protected like this? Yiqing Luo was determined to befriend this friend. Out of the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of a group of people rapidly approaching from the other end of the street. His gaze gradually turned cold. Here it comes. The Yuchi family's reinforcements. Yiqing Luo estimated with her eyes that there were approximately 23 to 24 people. The two leaders were approximately 30 years old, overbearing and aggressive. Apart from the two leaders' profound levels at Mystic Profound 9th grade, there were still 4 7th grade Profound practitioners. The rest were all at the Yellow Profound realm. This lineup couldn't be considered especially powerful, but to the current her, if she were to meet force with force, she had no chance of victory. Chapter 38. Seeing that help had arrived, Wuxia's panicked expression immediately became arrogant. His morale for battle also became full of confidence. The other side had 2 people while he had 20 people behind him, as well as the Yuchi family's elite guards. Why would he be afraid of a waste and a second young master Mu? Yiqing Luo Mu Zifei, today this young master will let you see the consequences of messing around with the Tai Sui's head. Wuxia's long sword cut through the air like a streak of azure light, carrying the chill of a sword. In a split second, the entire sky was covered in lightning and thunder, sealing off Yiqing Luo and Mu Zifei from all directions. Yiqing Luo and Mu Zifei looked at each other. When they saw the smile that flashed in the other's eyes, they coincidentally hooked the corners of their lips. A murderous aura floated in Yiqing Luo's eyes, and the folding fan in her sleeve flipped at her fingertips. The tip of her toes touched the ground, and her figure immediately transformed into an afterimage. Mu Zifei's longsword condensed profound chi and slashed down horizontally. With each slash, the earth seemed to shake, red like thunder. He opened a path for Yiqing Luo. When Wuxia's 20 guards saw this, they rushed forward in unison. Profound chi soared to the sky, and the surrounding common people's stalls and tables were all overturned. Items smashed onto the ground and shattered into pieces. At first, when Mu Zifei and Wuxia fought, they didn't harm the common people. These 20 people moved together, and immediately the entire street was filled with screams and clamor. The folding fan in Yiqing Luo's hand was like a sharp blade, spinning at high speed at her fingertips. Her acuity was extremely high, her speed was extremely fast, and she also possessed the unique footwork she learned in her previous life. Several profound practitioners didn't even have time to make a move when they felt a chill on their necks, and they already fell to the ground. Quick! Stop her! The 9th Mystic Profound grade middle-aged man shouted sternly. His palm moved and split open the blade chi created by Mu Zifei. Immediately he pulled out a sharp broadsword from his waist and chopped at Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo's brows raised and she retreated a few steps with her toes. She dodged to the side and avoided the blade wave. With a boom, the middle-aged man's broadsword chopped out countless blade shadows where she was just standing. The 9th grade of the Mystic Profound realm could already be ranked amongst the powerhouses of the West Wave continent. Naturally, his reaction was extremely fast. After slashing the air again, he immediately leapt up. The huge sword was incomparably vicious, aiming straight for Yiqing Luo's vital point. Your opponent is me. Suddenly, Mu Zifei, who was surrounded and attacked by more than 10 guards, sent his saber chi flying. He released a big move and broke through the human wall. His white clothes fluttered in the wind, his long hair fluttered in the wind, his long blade crisscrossed. The profound chi released a resplendent blade light, fiercely colliding with the middle-aged man's blade. The two blade auras collided at the same time. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yiqing Luo's footwork was strange, and in just a few steps, she had already passed through the middle-aged man's encirclement. Her goal was to directly take action against Wuxia. There were only two of them, so they had to capture the ringleader first. As long as Wuxia was restrained, who among those 20 or so people would still dare to move? This was also the stratagem that she saw in Mu Zifei's eyes when their eyes met. The cooperation between the two was so tacit. It was as if he had practiced this countless times. With just a few glances, he was able to understand the other party's thoughts. Under the protection of those 20 or so people, Wuxia naturally relaxed his vigilance. He simply didn't expect that Yiqing Luo, a trash without the slightest bit of profound chi, would actually approach him under the eyes of 2 9th grade Mystic Profound Grade and 4 4th grade Mystic Profound Grade guards. Suddenly, Wuxia felt a chill run down his spine. It was obviously just a folding fan, but in Yiqing Luo's hands, Wuxia seemed to feel that it was a sharp blade sticking to his neck. A chill ran down his spine, and a chill of fear welled up from the bottom of his heart. How did she avoid the defense of more than 20 people and get close to him in an instant? Her speed was so strange and shocking. You dare to kill me? This young master is Wuxi. Before he finished speaking, that folding fan had already approached Wuxia's blood vessels. A tingling sensation made Wuxia suck in a breath of cold air. Stop. All of you stop for this young master. He repeatedly screamed involuntarily. The surrounding 20 people all stopped what they were doing. The ordinary guards were endlessly dazed. And those several mystic profound and above guards' complexions immediately turned ashen. Chapter 40. Under their eyelids, Yiqing Luo had restrained Wuxia. This was simply a slap to their faces. With just a turn, Yiqing Luo had already approached. This wasn't just because of the speed. Yiqing Luo didn't have any profound chi, so they couldn't sense her presence from her profound chi fluctuations. But her speed was fast and nimble. It would bring along the wind. The wind would easily expose a person's target. However, Yiqing Luo's approach was completely silent. Without any flaws, she didn't give them any chance to react at all. After Yiqing Luo succeeded, Mu Zifei immediately stopped and returned to Yiqing Luo's side. Yiqing Luo, let go of my young master. The guard's eyes were sinister as he pointed at Yiqing Luo. If you dare to touch a single hair on our young master, our Wuxi family will make sure you die without knowing how. Yiqing Luo sneered as her fingers lifted Wuxia's chin. Blood had already seeped out from a spot on his neck. You can try and see if this young patriarch dares. Yiqing Luo's lips curled up slightly as her fingers holding the fan moved randomly. With each movement, Wuxia felt a burst of stinging pain. Like the pain of a blade cutting through his skin. He was so shocked that he repeatedly shouted, his face full of fear. Stop. Wuxi family is really imposing, actually daring to openly despise my Three Springs sect, despise the Mu family. Yiqing Luo actually stopped, her charming eyes staring straight at the guard. Is the Wuxi family preparing to rebel and want to become the #1 family in the Western continent? The guard's expression congealed. Such a big hat would easily arouse the vigilance of the other families towards the Wuxi family. Just as he was about to answer, he saw Yiqing Luo's fan move closer to Wuxia's neck. That pair of cold and enchanting eyes was warning him. He wanted to explain but didn't dare to open his mouth. If he didn't explain, he was afraid that if someone with ulterior motives heard, this Wuxi family would once again stir up great waves. Brilliant. Yiqing Luo's move was really brilliant. The two middle-aged guards looked at each other and couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. This Yi family's 7th miss seemed to have changed into another person. For a moment, both sides were in a deadlock. Wuxi family's ability has indeed grown, actually daring to cause trouble in my pristine elixir medicine hall. A clear voice came from afar. A man dressed in luxurious blue robes walked over with his hands behind his back. His figure was tall and slender, and his face was handsome and refined. His entire body emitted a scholarly aura. Yiqing Luo followed the direction of the voice. When he met that pair of smiling azure eyes, a surprised expression appeared on his face. Wasn't this the man whom she had borrowed the fan from outside the Three Springs sect? I didn't expect to meet him here. Big brother, why are you here? Suddenly they heard Mu Zifei shout at the man beside them. The man raised his eyebrows slightly, and a bright smile appeared on his handsome face. If anything happens to you, father and mother will be talking about me. It's not like I can't handle things. Mu Zifei's expression was displeased, but a smile overflowed from between his brows. It could be seen that the two brothers had a very good relationship. As they were talking, the man had already crossed the crowd and stood between Yiqing Luo and the guard. I, Mu Zifan, am the eldest son of the Mu family and also the owner of Pristine Elixir Medicine Hall. If you insist on touching my people in my territory, then the Mu family will accompany you to the end. Chapter 41. The two middle-aged guards spread open their arms and pushed the 20 guards behind them back a few steps. The Yuchi family doesn't want to become enemies with the Mu family. Our fourth young master's target is only the Yi family's 7th Mississippi. If the two young masters of the Mu family make things convenient and hand over the Yi family's 7th Miss, we will leave immediately. I won't intervene in the grievances between the Yuchi family and the 7th Mississippi. Although Mu Zifan was smiling, there wasn't the slightest hint of a smile between his brows. Big brother. Mu Zifei hurriedly shouted, knitting his brows tightly. How can you not? Mu Zifan raised his hand and stopped him. A pair of cold eyes coldly looked at that guard. But the fourth young master is in my Pristine Elixir Medicine Hall looking for trouble with the 7th Mississippi. Then I have no choice but to intervene. You. The middle-aged guard was so angry that he couldn't speak for a long time. What's the point of talking so much nonsense? Either kneel down and apologize to this young master, or this young master will send you to hell. Yiqing Luo listened to both sides negotiate back and forth, but no one asked her opinion. Wuxia was in her hands. The ones who should be afraid, should shrink back was the Yuchi family, and not the people on her side. She didn't need to negotiate with the Yuchi family at all. Yiqing Luo, don't bully intolerably. Wuxia's complexion immediately turned ashen. Make him kneel? In this life, apart from the current monarch, no one could make him kneel. Am I bullying people? What I'm bullying is nothing but an animal. Yiqing Luo sneered. The look in Wuxia's eyes was ruthless, his facial features twisted as if he couldn't wait to cut Yiqing Luo into 1,000 pieces. Suddenly he felt the coldness on his neck once again stick to his skin. His body tensed up and didn't dare to move. I'll count to 3, you choose. Yiqing Luo's eyebrows rose, a bit charming. That pair of charming eyes flashed with a dazzling flowing light. She slightly leaned forward, her pink lips hooked into an enchanting arc, and directly jumped out a word at Wuxia's ear. 3. With a plop sound, Wuxia kneeled on the ground. Almost subconsciously, when Wuxia came back to his senses, he was already kneeling on the ground. Ching. Fall. Wuxia's entire body trembled. He clenched his fists so tightly that his nails were already embedded into his flesh. He hated himself for being weak and useless, and hated Yiqing Luo's craftiness. She actually made use of his fear and deliberately skipped 1 and 2 after saying 3, and directly counted to 3. Because Yiqing Luo was very clear that he treasured his life. As for her, killing him would be a piece of cake. All right, 7th young Mississippi. Today consider this matter dropped for my sake. At this time, Mu Zifan walked over and lightly patted Wuxia's shoulder. Yiqing Luo raised her brows and let go of her hand. All right, this young matriarch shall give you this face. Today's matter, this young matriarch shall treat it as if nothing had happened. Mu Zifan faintly nodded. He single-handedly grabbed Wuxia's shoulder, smiling warmly. My 2 guards, since 7th young miss has already decided not to pursue your wrongdoings, this matter ends here. Lead your young master and get lost from Pristine Elixir Medicine Shop. He casually tossed Wuxia, who weighed 100 kilograms, out as if he was throwing away garbage. Those 2 middle-aged guards were so angry that their complexions darkened. The light in their eyes was gloomy, and they leapt up one after another, catching Wuxia. One on the left, one on the right, they supported Wuxia's arms on both sides. Chapter 42. What was meant by treat it as if nothing had happened? What was meant by 7th young lady wouldn't pursue their wrongdoings? What was meant by this matter would end here? Could they still have some face? Wuxia fiercely clenched his teeth, his eyes brimming with killing intent. It was as if he had already forgotten that he was the first to provoke Yiqing Luo. Mu Zifan took out a token from his waist and said with a light smile, apart from my identity as the eldest son of the Mu family, I am also the young chief of the Alchemist Guild. That token was the size of a palm and was golden in color. The word medicine was clearly visible. The 2 middle-aged guards opened their mouths, but no one listened to Wuxia's words and went to arrest him. Alchemist Guild. Who didn't know how powerful the Alchemist Guild was? The Alchemist Guild was one of the top powers in Nirvana realm. They specialized in recruiting alchemists and covered the entire Nirvana realm. Although alchemists weren't common, there were still 2,000 to 3,000 of them gathered together. Every continent also had a division of the Alchemy Union. Don't look at the number of people in the Alchemist Guild as compared to other large powers. But this Alchemist Guild was the target that countless large families wanted to curry favor with. They had countless supporting powers behind their backs. The Alchemist Guild's objective was, one person, one medicine to rule the world. Unexpectedly, Mu family's Mu Zifan was actually the Alchemist Guild's young chief. If they provoked the Alchemist Guild, just one word and there would be countless powers pouring out to work for the Alchemist Guild. What are you guys still standing here for? Go for this young master. If anything happens, put it all on this young master's head. Wuxia was so angry that he lost his head. How could he care if he was some young chief or young sect master? His mind was only filled with the desire to kill these 3 people. Fourth young master, even if master came, he would still have to be courteous when he sees the young chief. The middle-aged guard whispered in Wuxia's ear. Wuxia's fierce expression suddenly froze. Children who relied on their fathers relied on their fathers. Once they heard that their fathers also had to be courteous, the child who relied on their fathers became terrified. Fourth young master, let's go back first and report this matter to master. Let master take revenge for you. The guard gave an idea. All right. Wuxia clenched his fist and forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart. Today this young master will give you a way out and let you off this time. I will definitely make you suffer the consequences. Throwing down these ruthless words, Wuxia dejectedly left under the escort of the guards. Mu Zifei excitedly rushed to Mu Zifan's side, his eyes filled with excitement. Big brother, you took the Young Alliance Master's command token? The Alchemy Union was all about strength. If one wanted to become the Alchemy Union's Union Master, they would need to have both a moral character and alchemy ability. As for the Junior Alliance Chief, he had to go through layers of selections and tests before finally becoming the future Alliance Chief of the Alchemist Alliance. Yiqing Luo sorted out the Alchemist Guild's matters in her memory, and the gaze which she shot towards Mu Zifan was filled with some probing intent. Coincidentally, Mu Zifan looked over. He was caught peeping. Yiqing Luo had no intention to conceal, but instead openly sized him up. Seventh young lady, as the saying goes, no discord, no concord. I really appreciate your attitude. How about, we become friends? Mu Zifan asked with a faint smile. Yiqing Luo's slender brows raised slightly as she pretended to be disappointed and sighed. I thought we were already considered as friends. It turns out that eldest young master Mu only treats me as a friend now. Mu Zifan couldn't help but laugh out loud. Chapter 43. There was something fishy. There was a problem. There was definitely a problem. Just as Mu Zifei was abnormally serious and was about to ask questions, he saw Yiqing Luo folding the fan in her hand and handing it to Mu Zifan. Thank you for lending me the fan, it helped me a lot. Yiqing Luo slightly raised her charming eyes and revealed a sincere smile. Mu Zifan took the fan, opened it and closed it again. Why did 7th Miss think of using a fan as a weapon? The way you hold the fan is very skilled. Has 7th Miss been good at using a fan since young? No wonder he was the young chief, his insight was simply too strong. To be able to easily see through her fan technique, he must have practiced it since young. She was surprised and apprehensive in her heart, but still had a sweet smile on her face. A fan is light enough, inconspicuous, relatively convenient and can be easily held. Therefore using a fan as a weapon is the first choice. As for the question of whether she had been practicing with a fan since young, Yiqing Luo directly avoided it and didn't answer. Mu Zifan was a smart person and naturally wouldn't continue to ask. Who knew why Yiqing Luo became so powerful overnight after being useless for more than 10 years? He was also too lazy to delve into these unimportant questions. Right now what he was most clear about was that he and Yiqing Luo weren't enemies. Just knowing this was enough. At this time Yi Fengyu, under the shopkeeper's lead, walked over with a face full of apprehension. Especially when he saw the 2 young masters of the Mu family were also at the side. His resolute legs suddenly froze in place. The embarrassment on his face was obvious. Have you finished getting the medicine? Yiqing Luo stepped forward and put one hand on his back, patting him in relief. Yi Fengyu stuffed the rolled-up medicine list into Yiqing Luo's hands. His young and handsome face tolerated shyness. Yes, I have. Yiqing Luo was calm and spread out the medicine list. There were several wrinkles on the medicine list. It was estimated that when Yi Fengyu took the medicine, his heart was tangled. Mu Zifan's peripheral vision swept over the medicine list and a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. Seventh Miss bought so many medicinal ingredients, is it for refining medicine? There were at least hundreds of medicinal ingredients on that medicine list. What kind of prescription actually needed so many medicinal ingredients? It's used for alchemy. Yiqing Luo had no intention to hide as she nodded. Seventh young lady, you're also an alchemist? When Mu Zifei heard this, he moved closer and lowered his head to look at the medicine list. At that moment he was completely stunned. He swiftly snatched the medicinal list over and gazed at the astonishing medicinal herbs on the list as his lips twitched. Yiqing Luo, you don't have to do this. He said that the medicinal herbs were all exempted, but he had not expected Yiqing Luo to be so thick-skinned and shameless, with no intention of standing on ceremony at all. He simply wished that he could carry pristine elixir medicine shop away with him. That's enough. Seventh young lady has suffered so much at pristine elixir medicine hall today. Take these medicinal herbs as an apology. Mu Zifan pulled Mu Zifei behind him and made a should gesture at him. Immediately following that, he drew out a golden token and with a flick of his finger, that token flew directly towards Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo received it with a flip of her hand and saw that the palm-sized token was somewhat similar to Mu Zifan's young chief token at first glance. It's just that this palm-sized token was imprinted with the word, Alchemist Guild. This is the Alchemist Guild's pass, take it. If you want to come to the Alchemist Guild in the future, you can look for me anytime. Chapter 44. The Alchemist Guild's pass wasn't something an ordinary person could possess. In the entire Nirvana continent, there were no more than 500 people who possessed this pass. These 500 people were all people of virtue and prestige, people who were worthy of respect. She didn't expect that Mu Zifan would actually give this pass to her. Yiqing Luo felt his sincerity. She hooked her lips and put the pass at her waist. You were robbed of several hundred medicinal ingredients and still have to give an Alchemist Guild pass. Seventh young lady, my big brother treats you really well. Mu Zifei winked and smiled. Mu Zifan smiled calmly. I will always be attentive to any talented alchemist. You will definitely be a very good alliance leader. Yiqing Luo smiled. If I have nowhere to go in the future, perhaps I will really rely on you. At that time, I hope you won't despise me for being stupid. The three exchanged a few words before Mu Zifan received a letter from the Alchemist Guild and left midway. Yiqing Luo also said her goodbyes and prepared to return to the residence with her brother. Mu Zifei sent them away from pristine elixir medicine hall. Just as they reached the entrance, he said, if wuxia comes to find trouble with you again, he can directly come to the Mu family to find me. My big brother is always in the Alchemist Guild and may not see him every 2 to 3 days. I will. Right now the three of us are stepping on the same boat. If I have something, of course I won't be polite. Mu Zifei rolled his eyes. You really don't know how to be polite. I have never been polite to my friends. The implication was that in her heart, she had already regarded the two Mu brothers as her friends. Mu Zifei couldn't help but laugh. No wonder his big brother, who had always been a loner, would be interested in such a little girl. This girl's character was indeed too likable. That pass, you take good care of it. Its use is absolutely not as simple as being unimpeded in the Alchemist Guild. He suddenly lowered his voice and solemnly said, just as my big brother said, in an emergency, that pass can save your life. Yiqing Luo's charming eyes rose into a curved arc, making her appearance even more elegant and beautiful. I hope there will not be a time when I need to use the pass. After leaving pristine elixir medicine hall, Yi Fengyu's expression was still stunned and unable to recover. Yiqing Luo slapped the back of his head. What are you thinking about? Give me the herbs. Yi Fengyu rubbed his head and cried out in pain. Sister, when did you become so strong? Why are the two young masters of the Mu family so attentive to you? Was there a need to give away the Alchemy Union's token just to make friends? Could it be that they've fallen for you? Before he could finish his words, he felt a knock on his head. Let's go home and refine medicine. Yi Fengyu clutched his head as he took off the ring in his hand and passed it to Yiqing Luo with an aggrieved expression. He stored all the medicinal ingredients in this interspatial ring. There were 3 interspatial rings in the profound phoenix ring. Yiqing Luo took one out and passed it to her brother. When they returned to the Yi family, Yiqing Luo poured out the medicinal herbs and swiftly sorted them into different categories before keeping them into the profound phoenix ring. Then he gave the spatial ring to Yi Fengyu. He also warned him not to expose his wealth, especially the rare space ring. He had to be even more careful. After driving Yi Fengyu out of the abandoned courtyard, Yiqing Luo lay on the bed and immediately sent her consciousness into the azure dew bracelet. According to the page of the 100 Medicines Pill Refining Manual, Yiqing Luo began to refine pills. Chapter 45. Yiqing Luo sat cross-legged on the ground with a huge cauldron in front of her. The four corners of the cauldron didn't touch the ground and were suspended in the air. Yiqing Luo handed over the herbs bit by bit according to the prescription and casually replied, I want to help Xiao Yu refine his profound jade heart. The profound grade was extremely difficult to break through, especially the profound jade heart. Some people spent their entire lives and were only one step away from the next level of profound jade heart but were unable to break through. Yiqing Luo could see that her brother only lacked a little bit of opportunity. And this opportunity lay in her. As long as the pill was successfully refined, her brother's profound jade heart would definitely break through. And Ziling, that last, she is very loyal to me. I want to cure her leg. Yiqing Luo took another medicine list and glanced at it quickly. This was the muscle recovery pill from the 100 Medicines pill. After taking it, it could quickly repair damaged muscles and external injuries. In her memory, Ziling's leg was broken by Yiqing Ling when she was 7 or 8 years old in order to protect her. This was because when Ziling sold herself to bury her father, she begged her mother to use the money she earned from embroidery for more than 10 days to bury Ziling's father. She even brought Ziling back to the Three Springs sect. The little girl knew how to repay kindness and wholeheartedly treated Yiqing Luo as her benefactor. For Yiqing Luo, even if she lost her life, she wouldn't hesitate. Yiqing Luo had never been stingy towards those who were loyal to her. These 2 herbs, with your current grade, are enough to successfully refine them. You just need to control the amount and the fire. Old man Tsang smiled and nodded, his eyebrows curved as he stroked his white beard. What he admired the most was Yiqing Luo's importance to her own people. This girl looked like she was indifferent to everything, but in fact she was an extremely good girl. This temperament was somewhat similar to that person in his memory. He thought too far in the future. Old man Tsang shook his head and restrained the complicated thoughts in his mind. He smilingly watched Yiqing Luo's refining steps. Alchemy required a lot of patience. The most taboo was to be impatient. Yiqing Luo had refined for at least a month in the azure dew bracelet, which was equivalent to 3 days in the outside world. Her mind was affected by the violent banging on the door outside. It was the most crucial time to refine the pill, so it was impossible for Yiqing Luo to come out from the azure dew bracelet. She tried her best to calm down and control the fire in her heart. The ones knocking on the door were Ziling and Yi Fengyu. After knocking and banging for a long time, he did not hear any movement from inside the house. Yi Fengyu was anxious. He raised his palm and chopped down. The huge wooden door was smashed into pieces. The 2 of them rushed into the room and were about to shout Yiqing Luo's name. Ziling screamed and pointed at the bed. He saw Yiqing Luo lying flat on the bed. Her entire body was emitting a blazing flame-like glow. That ray of red light wrapped around Yiqing Luo. As soon as they got closer, they could feel a scorching heat. It was as if it was going to melt everything around it. Miss. What happened to Miss? This was the first time Ziling had seen such a situation. She was so shocked that her legs gave way and she fell to the ground. Yi Fengyu narrowed his eyes and carefully sized up his sister's expression. In any case, he was a student of the academy. Yi Fengyu stared at her for a long time before saying, "Elder sister must have extracted her divine sense and entered her divine sense space to refine pills. That's why elder sister's body is emitting the flames of refining pills." He immediately said, "8th young master, you are the Yi clan's 8th young master. How could you come to this kind of place?" As he spoke, he stepped forward to grab Yi Fengyu's hand. Yi Fengyu's cold eyes swept over, and he waved his palm to strike Yi Changwei's hand. Yi Changwei's profound rank was higher than his, but he did not dare to counterattack, and could only avoid Yi Fengyu's palm energy. "You also know that this is such a place?" Yi Fengyu suppressed his anger and glared at Yi Tianquang. "Father, I am the 8th young master of the Yi clan. Staying in this abandoned courtyard is an insult to my identity. Then have you ever thought that the person living in this abandoned courtyard is the Three Springs sect's young matriarch, the Yi family's first daughter, Yiqing Luo?" "You are." Yi Tianquang sternly berated, "Pay attention to who you are talking to." How could he have expected that Yi Fengyu, who had always been obedient, would use this kind of attitude to question him because of Yiqing Luo? Didn't Yi Fengyu always detest and loathe Yiqing Luo the most? Chapter 47. Sister, why are you? When Yi Fengyu heard this voice, he turned around in astonishment. He saw Yiqing Luo striding elegantly and slowly walking over. That red dress, as she walked, her skirt fluttered like a blooming rose. On that unparalleled face hung a light smile, captivating one's soul. Ziling, tomorrow hang a signboard for me, on it write, livestock not allowed, hang it above the main door. Yiqing Luo walked over and gestured towards the door. Yes, Miss Linger will go prepare now. Yi Tianquang clenched his teeth in anger, angrily pointing at Yiqing Luo. Unable to restrain his anger, he roared, "Evil girl! You dare to insult me!" Yiqing Luo rolled her eyes. "Father, I can't do anything about it." Yi Tianquang's wantonly anger and hatred in his heart slowly surged up. So this is the discipline of your Three Springs sect, actually allowing the younger generation to offend their superiors? It really broadened this old man's horizons. The middle-aged man standing at the forefront glanced at Yi Tianquang with eyes full of ridicule. Yi Tianquang immediately felt his face lose light. He gritted his teeth in shame and indignation. "Steward Yuchi, I didn't teach properly. Today I will hand over this evil girl to you. You can punish her." Steward Yuchi sneered, waved his hand, and two mystic profound grade 9 protectors were about to enter the broken courtyard to capture her. "Let me see who dares to enter." Yi Fengyu was anxious. He took out a long knife from his spatial ring and held it tightly in his hand. He stood in front of Yiqing Luo, his eyes staring fiercely at the person in front of him. "Today's matter is clearly your fourth young master's fault. You want my sister to take the blame? No way. You, come over here." Yi Tianquang's expression became increasingly dark. He cast a sidelong glance at Yi Changwei. Yi Changwei understood. A palm wind came out, wanting to scare Yi Fengyu. This palm had yet to move. Suddenly a cold wind attacked, a sharp pain in his wrist. The sound of bones breaking was extremely crisp. The scene was silent for a few moments. Immediately after was Yi Changwei's painful scream. A slender white hand slowly slid down from Yi Changwei's arm. His wide red sleeves fluttered in the wind. Yi Changwei hugged his right hand and knelt on the ground. His entire face twisted in pain. Everyone's gazes fell onto Yiqing Luo in unison. His eyes were filled with disbelief. She was at least 4 to 5 steps away from Yi Changwei. Between them was Yi Fengyu, Steward Yuchi, and the guards. But when exactly did she get close to Yi Changwei and pinched his wrist? No one knew. Just what kind of movement technique was this? How could it be so strange? It was so strange that it made one's hair stand on end. Steward Yuchi's face was gloomy. He had heard the guards talking about Yiqing Luo's strange movements. After seeing it with his own eyes, he knew that the guards were not exaggerating. He raised his guard in case Yiqing Luo silently appeared around him. Insubordination? In front of my lord father, you actually dare to make a move against the son of the first wife? Are you tired of living? Yiqing Luo snorted coldly. Soon after, she raised her eyes and met Yi Tianquang's angry eyes in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. "Lord Father, you don't need to thank your daughter too much. Your daughter, as the young matriarch of Three Springs sect, naturally has the right to rectify Three Springs sect's conduct." Yi Tianquang was so angry that he trembled. "Oh, that's right, Three Springs sect has a matriarch like father. No wonder Three Springs sect's development is declining more and more." Yiqing Luo raised her eyebrows. Her cold and arrogant gaze swept over the three people from the Yuchi family, the corners of her mouth hooked into a bloodthirsty cold arc. She single-handedly supported Yi Fengyu, her gaze directly pressing down on Yi Tianquang. "Lord Father, right now your son in front of you has been humiliated by a mere Yuchi family steward. Can you swallow this insult?" He couldn't swallow it. Of course he couldn't swallow it. Yi Tianquang's complexion was like a vegetable. He, the dignified sect leader of the Three Springs sect, had to lower his voice to a steward from a profound practitioner clan. After being stirred up by Yi Qingling, he felt that his face had been swept to the ground. That hot-bloodedness in his heart was stimulated by Yiqing Luo. No matter how much he disliked Yiqing Luo in his heart, no matter how much he loathed her. But in the eyes of outsiders, Yiqing Luo was still the young matriarch of the Three Springs sect. It was all right to be bullied by one's own family, but to be bullied by others, wouldn't it let outsiders ridicule Three Springs sect for having no one? Chapter 49. Steward Yuchi's expression also darkened. For a moment he did not dare to act rashly. He had accurately calculated Yi Tianquang's temperament, only then did he dare to strut around in front of Yi Tianquang. After all, the Three Springs sect status was there for all to see. If it weren't for Yi Tianquang's cowardice, always wanting to curry favor with all the forces, he wouldn't have had the guts to step into the Three Springs sect. Yi Tianquang's sudden display of power made Steward Yuqi's heart beat like a drum. This young master won't mention the affair between Wuxia and fourth sister for now. At this moment Yiqing Luo opened her mouth leisurely, but because this young matriarch knows their secret, he repeatedly made a move against this young matriarch, and even dared to lay a vicious hand on the Mu family's two young masters. He deserves to be seriously injured and bedridden. Steward Yuqi was secretly shocked when he heard this. He was well aware of his young master's romantic routine, but, flirting with the fourth miss of the Three Springs sect, should he praise his young master for his infinite charm, or should he wipe his cold sweat for his young master? On the other hand, Yi Tianquang's complexion was overcast, as if the frost of October had covered his entire face. What did he mean by Wuxia and fourth sister were having illicit relations? His Yi Tianquang's daughter was actually humiliated by that Yuqi family scum? The Yuqi family didn't even put the Three Springs sect in their eyes. This thought flashed through Yi Tianquang's mind. He thought that the Yuqi family had also offended the Mu family. Yi Tianquang's entire person was also filled with confidence. Like an angry lion, cold air wantonly emanated from his entire body. Steward Yuqi, you dare to humiliate my Three Springs sect. This sect master will absolutely not let this matter rest. Sect Master Yi, this is a misunderstanding. Steward Yuqi's anger abruptly subsided, and his tone softened. The Yuqi family has absolutely no intention of insulting the Three Springs sect. No. Yi Tianquang sneered and slightly narrowed his eyes. This sect master's eyes aren't blind. Get the hell out of Three Springs Manor right now. I will personally pay a visit to the Yuqi family and ask them how they will account for what happened today. Steward Yuqi's expression was thoroughly dark. A sharp glint flashed across his eyes. Since he had already shed all pretense of cordiality, he could not be bothered to give him any face. His long arms suddenly stretched out and his 5 fingers turned into a yin claw, pressing towards Yiqing Luo. Steward Yuqi's figure had just moved when Yiqing Luo acutely sensed a murderous aura. In the next second his body reflexively avoided the danger. Steward Yuqi missed once. He immediately turned around and pressed forward with his palm. His eyes were cold and filled with murderous intent. Yi Tianquang was thoroughly enraged. In front of him she had repeatedly attacked him. What a Yuqi family! Yi Tianquang's eyes were bloodshot. He suddenly clenched his fists and a wisp of qi lingered on his fists. Just as he was about to make a move, someone placed a hand on his shoulder. Yi Tianquang was so startled that he almost turned his hand to strike behind him. In the instant that the corner of the black robe floated into his eyes, Yi Tianquang's palm was forcibly intercepted in midair. The Yi clan is very lively today. What a coincidence that I've come. A clear voice descended from the sky. This voice was very calm and indifferent. But it easily made Yi Tianquang and the 3 Yuqi family members stop their movements. Your Highness. They knelt down to pay their respects. Only Yiqing Luo stood alone, especially conspicuous. Yi Fengyu tugged at the corner of her robe, reminding her to abide by the rules. But he saw Yiqing Luo's eyes were cold, and the corner of her mouth held a sneer of ridicule. And Lung Fenghua held a gentle and refined smile. Facing Yiqing Luo's indifference and rudeness, he didn't say a word of blame. Get up. Today His Highness is here to see his fiancée. No need to be so courteous. Lung Fenghua smiled and waved his hand. Chapter 50. Fiancé? Steward Yuqi's body stiffened and his face turned ashen. Since when did the crown prince acknowledge Yiqing Luo, this waste, as his future crown princess? Wasn't the most shameful thing for the crown prince to have Yiqing Luo, that useless, weak and incompetent fiancé? Now, the crown prince's motive was obviously to support Yiqing Luo. Once the crown prince intervened, Steward Yuqi didn't even dare to think about it. He knelt on the ground like a stray dog, not daring to get up. What are you doing here? Yiqing Luo frowned slightly as she looked at Lung Fenghua in annoyance. Naturally, I'm here to see you. Lung Fenghua slowly approached Yiqing Luo. His brows were filled with a warm smile. As soon as he got close to her, he smelled the delicate fragrance on her body. His heart was like a monkey running amok as he couldn't help but stretched out his hand to hold Yiqing Luo's tender hand. Scram. A cold word was spat out from Yiqing Luo's pink lips. She sneered and unceremoniously slapped his hand away. Lung Fenghua, don't forget, this young mistress has already divorced you. As soon as he said this, the surroundings fell into silence. Yi Tianquang was so angry that he really wanted to slap Yiqing Luo to death. Previously, when Yiqing Luo said that she wanted to divorce the crown prince didn't pursue the matter. That was because the crown prince was coaxing her. The dignified crown prince was coaxing a girl? Yiqing Luo should be deeply grateful, all right. She actually wanted to divorce the crown prince? Yi Tianquang's malicious and ruthless eyes fiercely looked at Yiqing Luo. Vile spawn you, this prince likes Miss Seven's temperament. Lung Fenghua waved his hand with an expression that said, "You can do whatever you want, I'll take it." Yiqing Luo shuddered as goosebumps formed all over her body. Like her personality? Could you please not disgust me? Damn it. I'm about to throw up my dinner from last night. Yiqing Luo rubbed her arms as she shifted her feet to the side with a look of disgust. Yi Fengyu stood up immediately and stood in front of Yiqing Luo. The youth's slender figure happened to block Lung Fenghua's line of sight. Lung Fenghua's smile froze. He had painstakingly coaxed a woman, only to be despised by her. His face had been thrown 108,000 miles away. Your Highness the Crown Prince, she's just too shy. Yi Tianquang racked his brains to think of an excuse, his face still piled with a flattering smile. This excuse almost made Yiqing Luo choke on her saliva. Shy. Holy shit. Which eye of yours saw that I'm shy? Even if I'm shy, I won't be shy in front of Lung Fenghua. Yiqing Luo felt that if she were to continue staying here, she would definitely vomit out yesterday's dinner. She narrowed her charming eyes slightly and her slightly cold gaze swept across the few people kneeling on the ground. Soon after, he slightly raised his gaze and stared at Yi Tianquang. The matter of the Three Springs sect and the Yuqi family will be handled by Father Xiaoyu. Let's go. After saying that, he walked towards the gate of the abandoned courtyard without looking back. Yi Fengyu followed closely behind. He completely ignored Lung Fenghua. It was the first time that Lung Fenghua had lost face in front of a woman. He had always been proud and believed that as long as he wanted to, he could have any woman in the world. But he didn't expect that Yiqing Luo would be rude to him again and again. A woman with thorns all over her body. When he first saw her, there was indeed a sense of novelty and he wanted to conquer this woman. But after a long time it hurt. A proud man couldn't wait to let go of this thorny rose. Thinking of a few days ago in front of the common people, Yiqing Luo made him suffer. Thinking of being ignored by Yiqing Luo now. Chapter 51. Seventh Miss. Lung Fenghua suppressed his anger as his voice came from behind her. The matter of breaking off the engagement is due to my lack of consideration. I sincerely apologize to you and will try my best to satisfy all your requests. Are these not enough to appease your anger? Yiqing Luo stopped in her tracks, turned her head and curled her lips disapprovingly. Anger? I'm not angry at you. Then. Lung Fenghua's face lit up. But his smile had yet to spread to his eyes when it froze at the corner of his mouth. He only heard Yiqing Luo's cold and sweet smile. Towards you I have no feelings at all. Why should I waste my feelings on an insignificant person? No feelings at all? Who was the one who kept on pestering him, calling out Brother Hua, so happily? Lung Fenghua's arrogant heart seemed to have been stabbed by a knife. Yiqing Luo was still smiling sweetly, her charming eyes seemed to be mocking him. What's more, who stipulated that I must forgive you if you apologize? Lung Fenghua's eyes were filled with coldness as he strode over and stretched out his hand to grab Yiqing Luo's shoulder. Yiqing Luo habitually dodged sideways. Just as she was about to counterattack, she saw Lung Fenghua's face suddenly turn green and red. It was as if he had eaten sh*t. His eyes widened and his mouth kept trembling, looking like he was about to vomit. Following that, everyone except Lung Fenghua knelt on the ground. They were shouting something like Overlord. Overlord? An evildoer's face appeared in Yiqing Luo's mind. She looked around sharply and didn't discover Dmo Xian's presence. Then, why did these people inexplicably shout Overlord? Just as she was thinking, Lung Fenghua suddenly grabbed her wrist and raised it up with an expression of eating shit on his face. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness and unwillingness as he pointed at Yiqing Luo's sleeve and asked with gritted teeth, "Why? Why do you have this?" Yiqing Luo then discovered that her sleeve revealed a piece of purple cloth. That cloth happened to be exposed at one end, embroidered with an incomparably clear, Overlord word. Overlord? Dmo Xian? Yiqing Luo shook off Lung Fenghua's hand and pulled out that piece of cloth. *CK. Wasn't this the day she met Dmo Xian for the first time? The last palm strike she had sent towards Dmo Xian didn't hit him, but hit off that piece of cloth on his sleeve? As expected of the legend of the Nirvana realm, Even a small piece of clothing could intimidate people. It was simply too cool. What exactly is your relationship with the Overlord? Lung Fenghua's eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the piece of cloth. A woman was hiding a small piece of a man's clothes. What else could that mean? Especially, if it wasn't for the Overlord's willingness, how could Yi Qing Luo possibly have his clothes? Lung Fenghua felt as if he had been cuckolded. No wonder Yi Qing Luo had been so arrogant recently, with such a detestable attitude towards him. It turned out that he had already hooked up with his next target. His gaze towards Yi Qing Luo became even more vicious. Yi Qing Luo found it funny. Lung Fenghua looked as if he had been cuckolded. What was going on? He had never treated her as his fiancée, so why was he acting like this now? Yi Qing Luo sneered as she stuffed the cloth into her sleeves, pulled up Yi Fengyu who was kneeling on the ground, and strode into the abandoned courtyard. With a bam, the abandoned courtyard's main door closed. The wind blew, rolling up the fallen leaves on the ground, sprinkling onto the back of Lung Fenghua's feet. The scene was silent. Chapter 52. It was undeniable that the deafening sound of the door slamming made Yi Fengyu feel very refreshed. But after feeling refreshed, he felt a lingering fear. The person outside was the current crown prince Ah. Slamming the door and leaving, although domineering, this was a great disrespect to the crown prince. Just as Yi Fengyu scratched the back of his head with a face full of apprehension, a hand suddenly stretched out in front of him. This is a peerless immortal pill, take it and eat it. Peerless immortal pill? Yi Fengyu's pupils suddenly widened, a burst of ecstasy spread from the bottom of his heart. What disrespect to the crown prince, to hell with it all. His excited hands trembled as he grasped Yi Qing Luo's hand and pushed her slender fingers away one by one. When the last finger was pushed away, an earth-colored pill appeared in the palm of her plain white palm. At first glance, this pill couldn't be any more ordinary. But upon a closer look, one would discover that the pill was shrouded in a faint medicinal mist, emitting a medicinal fragrance. Just taking a whiff of the medicinal scent, he felt his entire body's exhaustion was swept away. Yi Fengyu's excited lips trembled, unable to spit out half a word for a long time. His hands cupped the peerless immortal pill, his face full of ecstasy. Although it is a low-grade pill, I reduced the amount of medicinal ingredients and added a few more. After the transformation, compared to ordinary peerless immortal pills, the medicinal effect should be a bit stronger. Peerless immortal pill, a low-grade pill, could greatly enhance a profound practitioner's profound jade heart absorption, thus reaching the barrier of profound jade heart advancement. Of course, it also didn't mean that every profound practitioner who took the peerless immortal pill would advance. It all depended on individual factors. I still have 6 pills on me. If you successfully advance your profound jade heart, I will unconditionally give the remaining 6 to you. Yi Qing Luo tossed out another temptation when she saw her brother's smug look as if he was on cloud 9. Immediately Yi Fengyu was overjoyed, his eyes sparkling. This is what you said. I will go back to the courtyard to practice now. One cauldron could at most refine 10 pills at a time. Yi Qing Luo was able to refine 7 peerless immortal pills. It was already unprecedented. Yi Fengyu suddenly felt that there was meat to eat as long as he followed his sister. Therefore Yi Fengyu respectfully held the immortal pill in his hands and happily left the abandoned courtyard. By the time Yi Fengyu's aura had completely disappeared from the range of her senses, the smile on Yi Qing Luo's pale face disappeared from her lips. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. She supported herself with one hand on the wooden table and the other on her chest. His body swayed slightly and his legs gave out and he fell onto the chair. Girl, are you all right? Old Man Song's concerned voice came from her mind. Not long ago when Yi Qing Luo was refining pills, she was disturbed. Originally, she had wanted to calm her heart and wait until she finished refining the medicine before leaving the Azure Dew bracelet. But the other party had come knocking on his door. Yi Qing Luo's state of mind was not at ease and her control of the fire was slightly off by a little. Because of this, there were only 7 pills refined in the end. As for Yi Qing Luo, she had also suffered from the punishment of her consciousness refining pill. Her consciousness was damaged and she was injured. When facing Steward Yuqi and His Highness the Crown Prince, she forced herself to pretend that nothing was wrong. I'm fine. Yi Qing Luo held her chest and closed her eyes. I'll be fine after resting for a while. Chapter 53. The profound jade heart that Dmo Xian had formed in Yi Qing Ling's body was definitely not an ordinary profound jade heart. Yi Qing Luo could clearly feel the lingering qi waves in her heart. However, her meridians were sealed, and she was unable to freely circulate her profound jade heart. Old Man Song's voice paused, and he suddenly took a deep breath, as if he had made up his mind about something. He said, "Little girl, this old man has a cauldron here. If you can tame this cauldron, then the marrow cleansing pill and whatnot will not be a problem." Yiqing Luo's thoughts stirred and her consciousness entered the azure dew bracelet. Her divine sense was damaged. This move caused her body to feel a tightness in her chest, and a few traces of blood flowed out. Yiqing Luo didn't have the mood to care as she rushed straight to the front of Old Man Song. "Smelly old man. If you have something good, why didn't you take it out earlier? You hid it for so long." "It's not that I'm trying to hide it, it's just that." Old Man Song wanted to say something but hesitated. Yiqing Luo panicked, "But, whatever cauldron, just take it out." Old Man Song sighed and his illusory body swayed. A huge cauldron suddenly appeared in front of Yiqing Luo's eyes. The furnace was made of bronze, and the patterns on the body of the furnace were strange. It was impossible to tell what the patterns were. However, when she took a closer look, she vaguely felt that there was a pair of eyes glaring at her from the lines. The golden light flickered, making it hard for people to look away. That cauldron was even taller and bigger than Yiqing Luo. Instantly, the wide azure dew bracelet seemed a bit narrower. This is... Yiqing Luo had never come into contact with alchemy before, so she couldn't recognize this furnace in front of her. However, he knew that this cauldron was no ordinary item. At the very least, he was at the Supreme Being level or above. Sure enough, they heard Old Man Song proudly say, "This is a legendary cauldron called the Dragon God Cauldron. It's a vessel used by ancient gods to refine pills, and it's a cauldron that all alchemists yearn for even in their dreams." Dragon God Cauldron? Legendary level. Yiqing Luo was dumbfounded. Her pair of charming eyes suddenly widened. She subconsciously wanted to touch the Dragon God furnace. His wrist was grabbed by Old Man Song. "Don't go over." Yiqing Luo's other hand had already touched it. Suddenly, a burst of golden light flickered in front of her. Yiqing Luo had no time to see clearly what happened and only felt a pain in her finger. Then she was pushed out by the golden light. Fortunately, Old Man Song supported her from behind. Old Man Song immediately raised her hand and saw that there was a bright red mark on her finger. Fresh blood was gushing out. "Ouch!" Yiqing Luo sucked in a breath of cold air. Old Man Song's expression became grave. "What's going on? It actually sucked your blood?" Yiqing Luo was stunned. "What's sucking my blood?" The Dragon God Furnace is a legendary furnace. Like the Azure Dew Bracelet, it has a guardian spirit. The guardian of the Divine Dragon Cauldron is the totem outside the cauldron, the Golden Dragon. Old Man Song bandaged Yiqing Luo's finger as he explained, "The Golden Dragon's temper is the worst. Even if it's me, when I was still alive, I wasn't able to tame the Divine Dragon Cauldron." He paused for a moment, a puzzled look in his eyes. "I've never heard of it taking the initiative to drink human blood. Golden Dragon?" Yiqing Luo vaguely recalled that when she touched the Dragon God Furnace earlier, she seemed to have seen that golden light form a golden head. That sharp golden tooth cut a line from her finger. Chapter 54. Girl, you're really lucky. This old man is envious of your luck. Old Man Song pushed Yiqing Luo towards the Dragon God Cauldron. "All right, you can go over now." Yiqing Luo was dumbfounded. He wasn't allowed to go over just a moment ago, so why was he allowed to go over now? He thought that the Divine Dragon Cauldron would resist him again. But her body directly collided with the Divine Dragon Furnace. The ice-cold sensation instantly eroded her entire body. Yiqing Luo shivered and was just about to leave when she heard a strange voice resounding in her ear. "New Master, I am the guardian of the Dragon God Cauldron, called Cauldron Dragon." The guardian of the Divine Dragon Furnace? New Master? Holy shit, what the hell? "Little girl, the Dragon God Cauldron has absorbed your blood, so it has established a blood contract with you. It will follow you for the rest of your life, only for you to use." Old Man Song saw Yiqing Luo's horrified expression and explained aloud. Not only was Yiqing Luo shocked, his heart was also overwhelmed with shock. When he was still alive, he obtained the Divine Dragon Cauldron. But even after his death, even after he became the protector of the Azure Dew Bracelet, he still had no way of taming the Divine Dragon Furnace. He had not expected the Dragon God Cauldron to take the initiative to sign a blood pact with Yiqing Luo. It seemed that this little girl's identity was extraordinary. At this moment, Yiqing Luo was communicating with the Cauldron Dragon. She learned from the cauldron dragon that the divine dragon furnace was an alchemy furnace contracted by an ancient divine sovereign. After the divine emperor passed away, the divine dragon furnace fell into the nirvana realm. Then old man Song unexpectedly obtained it. Then she appeared. Why me? Yiqing Luo was puzzled. This was the first time she had seen the dragon god's cauldron. She had also heard old man Song mention that from when he was alive until he became a guardian, he had never been able to tame the dragon god's cauldron. She didn't understand why the cauldron dragon would choose to form a blood contract with her. The cauldron dragon's voice was loud and clear, possessing the dignity of the dragon race. Because of your scent. Taste? Yiqing Luo raised her hand and sniffed her body. He showered every day and there wasn't any special smell. You humans can't smell this smell, said the cauldron dragon. Yiqing Luo's hand covered the pattern of the dragon god cauldron. The dragon god cauldron suddenly trembled and randomly transformed into a palm-sized cauldron, falling into Yiqing Luo's palm. The cauldron dragon's voice came again. I can be as big or as small as you wish. I will definitely teach you everything I know about refining medicine. In other words, it would not interfere in anything other than alchemy. He held the divine dragon furnace in his hand. Chapter 55. Yiqing Luo understood. Under Cauldron Dragon's request, she first took a pill to treat the damage to her consciousness. Then she left the Azure Dew bracelet and called Xiling over. She told her to stand guard at the door and that no one was allowed to come in and disturb her. Just as she was about to return to her room, she thought of something and added, "If little Yu comes, let him guard the door with you." In the following days, Yiqing Luo lay on the bed and her consciousness entered the Azure Dew bracelet to refine pills. For an alchemist, apart from having good pill refining skills and character, they also had to have the best refining tools. A top-grade cauldron and a powerful profound jade heart condensed core flame, in addition to precious medicinal ingredients. This was an essential piece of equipment if one wanted to successfully refine a pill. Yiqing Luo fulfilled all of these conditions. It was just that her current body was somewhat powerless to control the legendary grade cauldron. At first, refining pills could be considered easy. She followed the 100 medicines pill-forming recipe and threw the medicinal ingredients into the cauldron according to Cauldron Dragon's instructions. She controlled the heat. But after a long time, her profound jade heart clearly couldn't support it. Usually, the longest time to refine pills wasn't more than 8 hours. This time, it took 24 hours to complete the refinement. The originally extremely pure core flame gradually became slightly turbid. Her breathing also became more and more chaotic. Girl, you hold on. Old man Sung realized the situation wasn't right and suddenly slapped his head. I forgot to remind Cauldron Dragon, your profound jade heart isn't your own. Dmo Xian's profound jade heart could be freely operated by Yiqing Luo. But after a long time, it could easily cause the profound jade heart to become tired and resist Yiqing Luo. Seeing the cold sweat on Yiqing Luo's forehead dripping down drop by drop, it was obvious she couldn't hold on any longer. Old man Song's spirit body flashed and quickly landed behind Yiqing Luo. Both palms came together and a white light burst forth from old man Song's palms. Immediately, a warm current assaulted Yiqing Luo's profound jade heart. It lingered around the profound jade heart's surroundings and rotated several times. It easily suppressed the pain Yiqing Luo had been forcibly holding on to. That warm current revolved unceasingly within her body. After one revolution, her profound qi gradually stabilized. Boom! With a loud bang, the divine dragon cauldron shook. The golden light instantly lit up the entire void. As soon as the lid of the cauldron was lifted, a few golden pills automatically popped out. Yiqing Luo flipped her palm and those few medicinal pills automatically fell into her palm. There were 3 in total. Elder Song. Elder Song. I refined it successfully. I've succeeded. Yiqing Luo's brows were filled with ecstasy. She held the 3 golden pills and quickly walked towards Old Man Song. Then he saw Old Man Song lying on the ground. His white robes, white hair, and beard seemed to have merged with the space around him. The smile on Yiqing Luo's face instantly froze. Old Man Song, what's wrong with you? Yiqing Luo's expression congealed as she half knelt on the ground and stretched out her hand to help Old Man Song up. Master, don't touch him for now. The Cauldron Dragon's voice interrupted her actions. Yiqing Luo's arms stiffened, her eyes filled with worry. Is it because Old Man Song just passed me profound qi causing? Girl, don't worry. Old Man Song's voice was very light. His white beard moved along with his lips. I'm fine. I'll be fine after recuperating in the Azure Dew bracelet for a period of time. Yi Qingluo's pink lips pursed into a straight line. Chapter 56. He is the guardian of the Azure Dew bracelet. As long as his spiritual body is still within the bracelet, nothing will happen to him, said the Cauldron Dragon. Yi Qingluo bit her lips, and Old Man Song will be fine. The Cauldron Dragon was the guardian of the divine artifact. It wouldn't deceive her. In any case, she was the master of the Cauldron Dragon. Little girl, since the marrow cleansing pill has been successfully refined, there's no time to lose. Eat the marrow cleansing pill and unseal your meridians. Old Man Song's voice grew softer and softer. I have to go into seclusion for a period of time. The Cauldron Dragon will guide you. Yi Qingluo nodded her head repeatedly. I will, when you come out of closed-door cultivation, I will not let you down. The corner of Old Man Song's lips twitched weakly. Soon after, white mist curled up and completely enveloped Old Man Song's body. After the fog dispersed, where was Old Man Song's figure? Don't think too much. Let's begin. Cauldron Dragon didn't give Yi Qingluo time to think about other things. Yi Qingluo concealed the uneasiness in her heart. Indeed, it was useless no matter how much she thought about it. The only thing she could do now was to unlock the seal on her meridians and cultivate her profound qi to make herself stronger. According to Cauldron Dragon's method, Yi Qingluo sat cross-legged on a stone block. Immediately his little but felt a chill. 1,000-year frost ice? Yi Qingluo stretched out her hand in astonishment and stroked the stone block. Immediately, a cold aura that was comparable to a heart-piercing chill spread from her palm to her arm. The 1,000-year frost was a good item. It was a treasure that countless profound practitioners desired. It was said that as long as a profound practitioner cultivated on the 1,000-year frost, they would be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. This was because the Millennium Frost was refined from the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Now that it was placed within the Azure Dew bracelet, the spiritual energy on the stone block was even denser and purer. He hadn't expected that Old Man Song would hoard quite a few good things and hide them in the Azure Dew bracelet. Yi Qingluo sat upright and swallowed a marrow cleansing pill. The marrow cleansing pill melted in his mouth, and his mouth was instantly filled with a refreshing medicinal fragrance. The medicinal fragrance flowed down his throat and into his body, flowing into his meridians. The process was extremely painful. Yi Qingluo couldn't hold it in for a few times as she let out a painful moan. In his tendons and veins, waves of medicinal fragrance kept colliding and pressing against each other. His entire body felt as if it had been torn apart and then reassembled. Ah! A sharp painful moan came out from Yi Qingluo's mouth. There was a metallic taste in his throat. As soon as he heard the sound of cooking, he spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood was black, so black that it was purple. Then a cold current spread from his buttocks to his limbs and bones. The painful squeezing sensation was no longer there. At this moment, Yi Qingluo only felt carefree and incomparably refreshed. A majestic and terrifying profound qi erupted from Yi Qingluo's body. That profound energy emitted a dazzling light, making the red-clothed woman on the stone block look even more enchanting than the sun and moon. The purification was a success. The blocked tendons and meridians were unblocked. A steady stream of profound energy spread through his limbs and bones. Master, taking advantage of this momentum, you can begin challenging the first level of the Azure Dew bracelet's mental cultivation method. Nanny? He was already challenging the first level of the mental cultivation method? Not waiting for Yi Qingluo to regain her senses, that huge cauldron shook violently. Her footsteps were unsteady and her body bumped into something. In the next second, that thing that she had bumped into was like a suction cup, firmly sucking her in. Yi Qingluo's eyes immediately went black. In a short moment, Yi Qingluo opened her eyes again and discovered that she was actually standing on a battle stage. Chapter 57. This is the first level's competition arena. Cauldron Dragon's faint voice seemed to come from the horizon. Master, raise your head. Yi Qingluo followed the voice and raised her eyes. Above her head was a vast expanse of white mist that she couldn't see the bottom. On the extreme right side of the arena, a fiery red candle lamp floated in midair. When this lamp goes out, no matter what happens on the arena, I will summon you back. Cauldron Dragon continued, if you successfully pass the first level before the lamp goes out, you can obtain the first level's secret arts. In other words, before this lamp goes out, Cauldron Dragon absolutely wouldn't interfere with her? The Azure Dew bracelet has 12 levels of purgatory. The first level is the simplest. With your current ability, you should be able to deal with it. Do you see that huge one on the arena stage? Pour profound chi into the one, and the Azure Dew bracelet will randomly create a void space according to your strength. Yi Qing Luo followed Cauldron Dragon's words and half knelt on the ground, pouring profound chi into the one under her feet. When her profound chi was released, the profound chi that had just been gathered after purification actually crazily rushed towards her profound jade heart. As if it had found an outlet, it drilled into her profound jade heart as if it didn't cost anything. Yi Qing Luo clutched her heart, one hand on the ground, and let out a muffled groan. This crazy oppressive feeling squeezed her profound jade heart until it swelled painfully. At the same time, the entire arena shook violently. In a split second, a group of fiendish wild beasts appeared in front of Yi Qing Luo. There were at least 100 of them in a group. The 100 beasts cried in unison, deafening the ears. The entire arena seemed as if it was about to collapse. These wild beasts were refined according to your current strength. You only need to defeat these beasts in front of you and you can smoothly pass the first level of purgatory. After Cauldron Dragon finished speaking, there was no longer any sound. It seemed as if it simply didn't see Yi Qing Luo's expression of endless pain. It simply couldn't be more painful. Her chest swelled to the point it was about to explode. And the 100 wild beasts in front of her, after their protective barrier was broken, surged towards Yi Qing Luo. Among those wild beasts, the smallest was 2 meters tall. They opened their bloody mouths, revealing their sharp teeth. He opened his mouth and tried to swallow Yi Qing Luo into his stomach. Yi Qing Luo's 5 fingers clasped tightly around her heart as she leapt up. Using the height of a wild beast, she somersaulted in the air. Soon after, he landed steadily in the empty space of the arena. A few ferocious wild beasts missed their target and crashed into each other. Phew! Yi Qing Luo panted heavily as her slender brows creased tightly. All of a sudden, the profound heart jade seemed to have been set ablaze by a ball of flame. Yi Qing Luo could clearly feel the scorching heat in her chest. Following this, her body began to emit a layer of dazzling light. The light spread like fire. Yi Qing Luo felt that this ray of light had turned into strands of qi, seeping into her body from her skin. Bit by bit, it lingered on the profound heart jade. The swollen and painful feeling gradually disappeared. Surrounding the profound heart jade surroundings was a stretch of pure profound energy. When he clenched his fist, he could feel boundless power accumulating in him. The roars of wild beasts rang in his ears, and the wild beasts in front of him pounced ferociously. Yi Qing Luo's charming eyes gleamed with a bloodthirsty and enchanting red glow. The first floor. Chapter 58. The fiery red candlelight floating in the air flickered. On the arena, a pile of wild beast corpses piled up into a small hill. One by one, at an extremely fast speed, piled up high. In the middle of the arena, in the midst of the blood mist, a red figure was faintly discernible. Under her feet, there was an extremely strong qi wave, the strong wind fluttering her dress, like a blooming rose. A head of simple hair, long disheveled, hung down to her shoulders. That devastatingly beautiful face was covered with a layer of frost. There was no emotion on her face. Between her charming eyes, there was an excited cold glint. What swept her pink lips was a bloodthirsty and treacherous smile. She was killing incomparably carefree. The wind from her palm landed again, the wild beast flesh and blood splattered. Fresh blood splashed on her face. Her smile was more and more devastatingly beautiful. That smile made people appalled. Yi Qing Luo could clearly feel that the profound heart jade in her heart was transmitting her endless profound qi, making her fight tirelessly, unceasingly. Every time a wild beast fell, the blood in her body boiled for a while. In the arena, there were finally 3 wild beasts that weren't too big in size, but their power was extremely strong. These 3 wild beasts had some human nature, actually knew how to help each other. And the candlelight above her head, the candle flame was already getting weaker. At this time, Yi Qing Luo couldn't be impatient. She understood this logic. Trapped by the 3 wild beasts, Yi Qing Luo used her footwork to move back and forth. The profound qi in the profound heart jade was also constantly hoarding, absorbing. The wild beast's vision followed, but in a moment they were dizzy. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Qing Luo targeted one, hit it. The triangular standing wild beast, one died. The triangular defense disintegrated. Dealing with it was even easier and more comfortable. By the time Yi Qing Luo finished off the last wild beast, the candle which was floating in midair had also extinguished. Almost at the same time. Ha! Alas, I knew as long as it's you, you can definitely do it. Old Man Song's voice came from her mind. His voice was unable to conceal the joy in it. Yiqing Luo's bloodthirsty cold eyes suddenly became clear. Old Man Song? Are you alright? This old man hasn't even seen you ascend to the peak of powerhouses. How can you die? Old Man Song's voice regained its usual vigor. After inquiring, Yiqing Luo found out that she had spent 3 days and 2 nights in the first story. Old Man Song had been cultivating in seclusion for the past few days. Although he couldn't appear in his previous spiritual form, he could at least communicate with her. When Old Man Song returned to her side, Yiqing Luo immediately felt a sense of familiarity. Chapter 59. When Yiqing Luo was still in the 21st century, she had heard the name teleportation from those old men's mouths. They had mentioned it more than once. But what made Yiqing Luo remember this name incomparably deeply was, those old men had tricked her into going to the Yi family's ancient tomb to retrieve the Yi family's heirloom. They had deliberately mentioned teleportation. Teleportation, as the name implied, was able to move in an instant. Compared to her strange footwork and identity, it was even more astonishing. If one could cultivate teleportation to the highest level, in a place as big as a town, he could easily teleport to any place he wanted. Unexpectedly, Yiqing Luo had really obtained the secret manual of teleportation in the first layer of purgatory. It was rare for those old men to speak the truth. The reward for successfully passing the first layer of purgatory is randomly generated by the Azure Dew Bracelet's first layer of purgatory according to the statistics of when you defeated the 100 beasts. Old Man Song explained. When Yiqing Luo fought against the first layer of purgatory, she used her modern footwork. Because of this, purgatory filtered out the most suitable reward for Yiqing Luo. Regarding this reward, Yiqing Luo expressed that she was very satisfied. Satisfied to the point that she couldn't be more satisfied. Don't be complacent too early. Old Man Song saw Yiqing Luo's shining eyes and sighed helplessly. You must restore the profound jade heart that was dug out as soon as possible. Mentioning the profound jade heart, Yiqing Luo's hand subconsciously covered her chest. Right? She had almost forgotten that the profound jade heart in her chest wasn't her own profound jade heart. A profound jade heart that didn't belong to her, if used improperly, could easily cause a backlash from the jade heart. Just like when she fought against the wild beasts and released profound chi to open the first layer of purgatory, she almost suffered a backlash from the profound jade heart. This profound jade heart of yours can't hold on for too long. Old Man Song continued, or you can find the person who formed the profound jade heart for you and let him restore the current profound jade heart for you. Find Diamo Xian? Yiqing Luo inexplicably thought of the 1-month appointment that he had made with her. He said he would give her 1 month's time to prove her strength. At that moment she understood everything. 1 month's time was almost up. And the time that Diamo Xian gave her to condense this profound jade heart was estimated to be a month. If Diamo Xian forgot about her existence and forgot about this 1-month appointment, it was very likely that the profound jade heart in her chest would swallow her. Or perhaps all her hard work for the past month had been in vain. Damn it. What he hated the most was the feeling of having his fate in someone else's hands. Without Diamo Xian she couldn't do anything? Yiqing Luo's fingers clenched tightly as her charming eyes flickered coldly, filled with unwillingness. Only she could control her own fate. He had to find his profound heart jade as soon as possible. Yiqing Luo bid farewell to Old Man Song and Cauldron Dragon before leaving the Azure Dew Bracelet. The minute her consciousness returned to her body, Yiqing Luo immediately felt hungry. Within the Azure Dew Bracelet she didn't feel anything at all. Once they returned to reality, Yiqing Luo clutched her stomach and shouted with a dry throat, Ziling, Ziling. Ziling, who was guarding outside the door, heard the noise and slammed the door open. Miss, you've finally woken up. Ziling's face was filled with anxiety as she limped and jogged, staggering endlessly. Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes as she realized something. What happened? Ziling saw that her Mrs. lips were dry and didn't forget to pour a cup of water for her as she spoke. Chapter 60. What? Yiqing Luo's eyes darkened. Yiqing Ling, that little bitch, was the last lesson not enough? Now he actually dared to stir up trouble in her courtyard. She forgot the pain after the scar healed. Yi Fengyu's profound grade was above Yiqing Ling's. But his temperament had not reached the point where he would stand to the end. After all, Yiqing Ling was his fourth sister. Yi Fengyu would never go all out. But Yiqing Ling would not care about the brotherhood. Where is it? Let's go. Yiqing Luo got down from the bed and took out a pill from the profound phoenix ring to replenish her qi and stuffed it into her mouth. Ziling quickly led the way in front. About 20 meters away from the abandoned yard was a corner of the Three Springs Manor's garden. Yiqing Ling held a long sword in her hand and slashed at Yi Fengyu with every move. The long sword made a whoosh sound in the air. She sneered arrogantly, "Call that little waste Yiqing Luo out, isn't she quite arrogant and presumptuous?" Yi Fengyu kept dodging and frowned. "Fourth sister, we are all children of the Yi family, why do you have to be so aggressive? Don't talk nonsense with me." Another wave of swords came crashing down. Yi Fengyu hit the ground with both hands and rolled over. "Fourth sister, if you continue to be so aggressive, don't blame me for not showing mercy." "Yo, I want to see how you are going to show no mercy." Yiqing Ling sneered. In her eyes, both Yiqing Luo and Yi Fengyu were unwelcome in the Three Springs Manor. A daughter of the first wife and also the young matriarch, was bullied and helpless. A son of the first wife, although he could live in the courtyard arranged by his father, no one paid attention to him and no one regarded him as a son of the first wife of the Yi family. What was there to be afraid of? Yiqing Ling narrowed her eyes. Two motherless children would never be able to stand firm in the Yi family. Her moves were even more ruthless. Yi Fengyu was enraged, profound qi broke out of his body and he swung his palm to meet Yiqing Ling's sword. Yiqing Ling was taken aback and astonished. She was not surprised because Yi Fengyu made a move against her. Instead, Yi Fengyu's profound rank was several levels higher than hers. What was going on? She remembered that Big Sister had once said that Yi Fengyu's profound rank was at the 3rd level of the mystic profound realm. However, Yi Fengyu's personality was weak, and he had too many misgivings. When he fought, his hands and feet were tied. If they were to fight, even a yellow mystic realm expert would be able to easily subdue him. But, however, the Yi Fengyu in front of her was completely different from what Big Sister had described. Although Yiqing Ling couldn't see through his profound grade, but she could feel that this was definitely not the power of the mystic profound grade 3. What happened to having a weak personality? He actually attacked her. Yiqing Ling didn't know that the current Yi Fengyu, under Yiqing Luo's intentional or unintentional influence, was slowly changing his inner thoughts. Yiqing Ling panicked. She was not an idiot. If Yi Fengyu really wanted to fight with her, she would definitely be the one to suffer. Looking at Yi Fengyu's palm approaching, Yiqing Ling steeled her heart and cleverly avoided the palm strike. Immediately after, as if he had been struck by the wind from the palm, his body flipped in the air and fell to the ground with a thud. She clutched her chest with a face full of pain. Fourth sister. Sure enough, it was just as Yiqing Ling had expected. Yi Fengyu immediately withdrew his hand and looked at his own hands in panic. With a worried face, he ran to Yiqing Ling and helped her up. "Fourth sister, are you alright? That you're tuning in to the Sword Dance in the Vast Sky YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.